Bismillah wa salatu wassalam ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Inshallah, we're going to go through a grammatical analysis of the first two ayat of Surah Al-Mulk. Surah Al-Mulk is the 67th chapter of the Quran. So, inshallah, we're going to go through a relatively in-depth analysis. We're not going to go too much sarf, so mostly just analyzing it sentence-wise and word by word, and why each word is in the state that it's in. So let's begin. So firstly, we have tabaraka, which is a past tense verb, and there's a small alif here in the mushaf. It's written, so if it was outside the Quran, it'd be written as follows. I'll just do it quickly. Sorry for the I'm using a mouse to write it, so please bear with me. So tabaraka. So as I said, that alif there is a small alif. It's not actually written, but it's actually pronounced. So that's the actual word there. It's a past tense verb. It's mabni ala fatha. It's a fi'l lazim. For those who forgot the difference between fi'l lazim fi'l muta'addi, is the fi'l lazim only has a dua, but not an object. So in this case, it doesn't have object, it just has a dua. So the translation usually in if you read a translation of tabarak, it's blessed. Blessed is he. The fi'l is alladhi. Alladhi is mabni ala sukun. I'll just do a sukun there. You can either do a small circle or that sukun. So it's mabni, as I said, and it's the fa'il, so it's fi mahal rafa'. It's in the state of rafa' because it's the fa'il. Now, because it's an ism mawsul, there's a silatul mawsul. And what is that silatul mawsul? It's what I'm going to put in brackets. It's biyadihi al-mulku. Now let's analyze this statement, which is the sila. Now, just one point about the sila is it doesn't have a place of i'rab. So whenever you want to know the place of i'rab of a sila, silat al-mawsul, it has no state of i'rab. So we have biyadihi al-mulk. This is the mubtada, al-mulku, and biyadihi is the khabar. For K, I'll put K for khabar. It's a jar majroor biyadihi. So the B and the yadi, he. So it's actually a jar majroor, and that's a mudaf, and the ha is a mudaf ilay. That's because it's a pronoun, this part. So it's actually a letter, a word, and a pronoun. So you could say three words. Biyadihi. Now, usually in a normal jumla ismiya, you'd have al-mulk, al-mulku before biyadihi. So usually you should have al-mulku biyadihi, not biyadihi al-mulk. Now, why is it this way? It actually has a slightly different meaning when you change the order around. That's a linguistic subtlety of the Arabic language, is even though you can change words around, it still has the same general meaning, although it does give a different, a slightly different meaning. So, but you can't do this in English, because when you change words around in a sentence, it actually stops making sense. For example, if you said Bob went to the store, if you swap the words around, it wouldn't make sense. If you said Bob store went to, that doesn't make sense. But in Arabic, it's a very dynamic language, and it has much more room to work with. You can actually change word orders around, and it gives subtle differences with the meanings. So in this case, بيده الملك, it's actually used in this structure by putting the khabar before the mubtada. It gives the meaning of what is known as ikhtisas, meaning only in his hands is the mulk. The word, I put the word only to specify that only in his hands is the mulk, that no one else, in other words, no one else has the mulk in his hands. Next you have the waw, which is ataf. It joins between the two sentences pretty much. So I'll just put it, actually what I'll do is, that's one sentence, I'll say number 1, and that's the second sentence, number 2, and that waw joins between the two. Okay. So that means that the whole thing is a sentence. It's a jumla ismiya. It starts off with huwa, as opposed to the first sentence, which is a jumla fi'liya. So the jumla ismiya here, huwa, will be the mubtada. The khabar is actually the last word. Now, why didn't it come after the jar, the majroor, which is mudaf, and then that's mudaf ilayh? So this part would be called, this part here is muta'alliq. It's just a jar majroor. So you could have said huwa qadirun ala kulli shay. That's possible to say, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put this jumla here in first before the qadir. Now, just before I talk about the reason why, we'll talk about qadir, which is the khabar. Qadir is actually a sigha mubalagha. Usually the ism fa'il for somebody who has power is qadir. So you say qadirun. But when you use qadir, which is a sigha mubalagha, it actually emphasizes, it gives emphasized meaning. Qadir, all powerful. So qadir means he has power, but qadir would mean all powerful. But not only this, you have ala kulli shay'in, which is brought before qadir, and this also gives specification, and it constrains the meaning to me. In other words, it means, and only over all things is he qadir. Only in all things. So he's the only one that in all things is qadir. To say that, to translate as he has power over all things, it doesn't give the full picture of what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is trying to say. So that's the first sentence. Sorry for if you might be confused. I'll try to answer your questions if there's something wasn't clear. Inshallah, I can re-explain what I've just said, inshallah. Now let's get to the second sentence. Let me just change the color so it doesn't get confusing. Or actually what I'll do is I'll just remove that. Okay. Now you have a levy, and just also there's a levy here in the first verse. This would actually be badal. Next, we have we know that with ism mawsul there's a silatul mawsul, which is what I'm going to put in brackets. It's خلق الموت والحياة. This is actually a jumla fi'liya. We have the verb, and the fa'il is huwa, which goes back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we have al-mauta, which is maf'ul bihi, and then harf atf followed by the ma'tuf al maf'ul bihi. So that's why they're mansub, and that whole sentence has no place of i'rab because it's a sila. And after this we have liyabluwakum. This lam is called lam al-ta'lil, and so it gives the meaning for the reason or in order. And inbuilt there's actually an built in, should be here, li an yabluwakum, and that an actually what gives the verb, sorry, that's what gives the verb yabluwa the nasab. So you can see a fatha there. It's actually mansub, and the fa'il in again is huwa. So just huwa yabluwa kum maf'ul bihi. That's the maf'ul bihi. I'll circle it. That he tests you in order. So he created. So in other words, he created death and life in order or for the reason to test you. And then we have ayyukum ahsanu amala. Ayyu is the mubtada. It's an ism istifham. Ayyukum, it's also mudaf, and that's mudaf ilayh. Which of you? And then ahsanu is going to be the khabar. Khabar. So ahsanu would be khabar, and the translation of it would be ayyukum, which of you is best. Now when you say ayyukum, which of you is best in what, you'll ask. So obviously you need a tamyiz, which is amalan, and that's why it's mansub, and that's tamyiz. Then you have the waw, which is atf. Again, huwa is mubtada, al-azizu al-ghafuru. You have khabar number 1 and khabar number 2. Makes sense, inshallah. And if you have any questions or any clarifications on any of what I've said, please don't hesitate to contact me. Inshallah that you got some benefit from this lesson. Sallallahu alaihi wa sallam.